I've been spending the morning making a bathing suit. If you haven't seen that video yet, go back and see it. It's really, really nice. But today we are going to be making this dress. I've seen it everywhere online, and I did search for it as well, but it feels like most of the Instagram ads these days are a scam, if you know what I mean. So I figured I'm gonna sew it myself. For pattern, I am using the dress I wore Christmas. So if you haven't seen the Christmas vlog, you can see it there. It's a very straightforward dress with an invisible zipper on the back. I'm just going to use it to outline the front and the back. This dress is like straight all the way down, so like this dress, I'm just going to adjust the pattern from the waistline so that it's a bit more like a bell. I still want the dress to be kind of straight though, so I'm going to just do like a slight adjustment and make like a bell shaped front and back. And then the tricky part is going to be adding the sleeves. I don't know if I'm going to be able to trace the measurements from this dress of the sleeves. I think so, and then I'm just gonna have to, yeah, get creative. We're not doing any lining because I have my overlocker now, so it's all overlocker game. And then the fabric that I will be using is this beautiful knitted fabric. It's dotted on the, what I'm gonna call the right side, and then it is it has like stripes on the wrong side. You could choose to make both sides right or wrong, but I'm gonna choose the dots for the outside. We're also adding the pockets obviously, but we're gonna do that at the very end. I'm just gonna make like faux pockets, nothing real, just sew on the two closers so that it looks like it has pockets. But yeah, I can't wait. Let's get into it. Let's just trace the original dress on this fabric first. All right, I've started by folding the dress over. We're cutting the backside first. I've also placed it a few centimeters from, like 2 centimeters from the fold of my fabric here, because I need some seam allowance for when I'm gonna put in the zipper. So we're just gonna cut about 2 centimeters around the dress all the way down. And then this is where the waist starts. Wait, this is where the waist starts. So I've just placed my tailor tool, and I'm just gonna give it that little extra bell. So I'm gonna cut like so, and then over. And then we're gonna use the backside pieces to help us guide when we cut the front side. All right guys, I cut the back section. I'm gonna split that in half in a second and show you. And now I'm about to cut the front section. I don't need any seam allowance here because I'm not gonna put a zipper on the front, so that's pretty easy. I've tucked in what would be the back here, so I've tucked that in to my dress to reveal the neckline. And then I'm gonna cut, so again, 1.5, 2 centimeters of seam allowance. Have also tucked sleeves here so I can follow the front side pattern. And then I have placed the bell shape that I've cut. Woo. And then I have placed my backside here so that I'm able to follow the same bell shape pattern on the skirt as we have on the backside. Okay, for sleeves, I decided to whip out one of my standard patterns that I have. So I also measured at the top here the 2 curves and measured them as well on the front and back pieces. And we're about like 2 centimeters off on each side. So it fits pretty well with me wanting to make the sleeve a bit tighter. And then I'm gonna cut down all the way, so a centimeter shorter or centimeter narrower than this pattern. And then I'm gonna finish it off in like a little bit of a rounded shape so that I can get that bell shape on my sleeves. Okay guys, these are the pattern pieces. So I have my 2 sleeves where I've marked what's the front side of the sleeve. I just cut out 2 rectangular squares for the pockets that we're gonna put on the front side. So those are those. I don't really know the measurements. What could they be? I think they're 15 by 20 centimeters approximately. And then we have our front and we have our back. The first thing I'm gonna do though is install the zipper. So I'm just gonna overlock the pieces here, and then I'm gonna basically base stitch them together, put the zipper inside and sew it, and then undo the stitches again so that the zipper is showing. Hi guys, I have overlocked the 2 back pieces, so the center seam right here. And then I've also pressed it and sewn it together. I sewed, so I didn't secure my stitch up here, and I sewed all the way down to where I want the zipper to start. I've marked that piece. So I sewed all the way here with just a long stitch, no securing. And once I reached the pin, I then switched to a normal stitch and I secured my stitch here, and it's, yeah, a normal stitch all the way down. And this is really smart because now these 2 are obviously sewn together, but only with the base stitch. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna switch over to my zipper foot, and then I'm gonna sew all the way along the zipper as closely as I can. And then after that, I'm just gonna, yeah, open the stitch. And we should have a perfect invisible zipper. But let's see. I'll catch back up with you once the zipper is done and I'm ready to start assembling the pieces. Okay peeps, daylight is leaving us, so I just want to take you through the actual very few steps left in the process. The first thing I'm gonna do now is that I'm actually gonna overlock the neckline of the front and back, because once I've assembled the dress, I'm just gonna kind of fold it in neatly, and I hope I can do that. It's stretchy fabric, so it's gonna be a challenge, but I'm ready for it. So I'm just gonna overlock the sections right here, and after that we're gonna join the shoulders together, and then we're actually gonna attach the sleeves, but only at the shoulders and like the arm section, so that the dress actually ends up looking like that. And when that is done, we're kind of gonna fold it over and then do the side seams all in one go. Let's overlock the necklines and then join them together at the shoulders, and then sew on the sleeves. Okay guys, we are back with our cross of a dress. Before I did the sleeves, I actually decided to sew down the neckline on these pieces, and then I joined them together afterwards, and it turned out really, really nice. Also don't know if I showed you the zipper, but if you ask me, it looks pretty damn immaculate. Anyway, I both find it to be a bit easier to do this technique where we then like fold the dress over and sew all the way from the wrist up into the armpit and down the sides. But I also chose to do this because I knew I had a sleeve pattern that wasn't correct. You can see here, there's that excess of centimeters. So I'm gonna trim that so it fits first. So I'm gonna trim that all the way down so it looks nice and the sleeves are tight. And I was able to do this then so I could mark like the very top of my shoulder on my pattern. I was able to align that with the shoulder seam, so everything looks super, super nice. Everything looks super nice for the shoulders on the inside or on the right side. And yeah, and then we're gonna turn the dress like so. So we have the right sides together, and the wrong side's out, and then I'm gonna sew the seam. The only thing left after that is adding the pockets and hemming the bottom of the dress. So I'm actually gonna make sure to hem, and then I'll come back to you guys once I'm ready to do the pockets. Good morning, guys. It is a stunning morning with a pink view, and I finished this gem last night. You can see the mirror needs a clean as well, but you know, this is honest everyday life. I'm so happy with the dress. It turned out, yeah, almost exactly the way I wanted it to. She was a little short when I tried her on first, so I needed to add like an extra border at the bottom. So I'm gonna remember that when if I do the pattern again. And then I sewed on the pockets by simply, like, I just did 2 squares basically. And then I closed off the hem with an overlock seam, and then I sewed that seam. I sewed that seam down on the dress with a lightning stitch so that it is stretchy if needed. And then once I tried on the dress, I decided to also pin down the edges of these with just 1 stitch on each of the corners. But yeah, here we are. I'm super happy with it. And the zipper is probably the thing that I'm most proud of. I'm gonna try and show you guys. Alright guys, that is all for this Monday. I have another very specific DIY project in mind. It's a sweater with a large, like, off-shoulder neckline thing. So I'm gonna make that soon. Stay tuned for that. But yeah, a Sunday well spent on a bathing suit and a dress. I hope you enjoyed the last 2 videos. And stay a while. Hang out if you want to. See you next Monday. Bye.